Hey, welcome in, Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas.
Hello, I'm Billy Cobbin, the Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boning with Tomorrow's Provost Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
Hey, yeah.
There you go, Zay. Test.
Hey, yeah. Hey, Mike. Did I ever tell you that's one of my pet peeves?
Yeah.
Did I really?
Yeah, you told me.
Well, I guess after 576 episodes, I've said about everything I can say.
No.
So we're gonna go to about 590, and then we're just gonna call it. We'll be wrapped up with everything. It's like back in the day. I said when you were now our chamber's awesome here. I want to say this disclosure: we have a great chamber. Jason Brandolini's the new president. Just think he's a standout guy. I've had a chance to break bread with him and had him here on the show and talk to him, and he's doing such great things in our community. He's very involved. But my old chamber where I grew up, there's always a season in every organization. And you know that as a pastor and any organization. It doesn't matter if you're a nonprofit, a church, a commercial business. There's always a season that you go through. We went through one in 2008 when the economy got pretty rough, and we were able to, thankfully, by the grace of the Lord, get through that season. But I'll never forget in our Georgetown chamber, it was like I was super involved, and then after 2 years, I was like, I feel like I've met everybody. And then and we called it fishing in the same pond.
Oh, yeah.
And so I took a 2-year break, and when I came back, I didn't know a single soul. And so it was kind of like a restart, a recycle.
Yeah.
But what I love about our chamber here is, yes, you're around a lot of the same people, but there's so many new people. And one other thing I love about it, Jason, is everybody just embrace it. Nobody feels left out at our chamber. And I think that's so important for any organization that you join, to recognize somebody who's new or to recognize somebody who maybe no one's sitting at their table, and go sit with them. And I've always felt included at this chamber, even long before I got involved. People would come up and talk, hey, are you new? And it didn't just happen once. It happened every meeting until I felt comfortable in new folks. And I think that's commendable.
Well, I had the opportunity to serve on the board before I knew you. I was on the board there at the chamber, and it was a great experience getting to know a lot of people in different areas. But you're right. I think being around the same people, a lot of times you do end up creating that bubble. You know what I'm saying? Even in church work, the church ministry the longer you're in church, and you kind of just all your meetings, all the time that you gather is with the same people. So what you have to do, you have to be intentional about being involved in other circles. Mm-hmm. You have to be intentional about including other people, like you said, and making sure your bubble is not just within the church, within the chamber, within the Lions Club, within whatever other area that you're involved in. I think that helps with business, but more importantly for us, it helps with building relationships for Jesus Christ and for His kingdom. You know what I'm saying? We think about churches in the area, and a lot of times churches in the area will use that same idea. We're fishing the same pond. We're fighting over the same people, and they get really, really competitive. But when you think about how big Huntsville is and what percentage of people in Huntsville are committed in a church, it's a very low percentage.
I think it's less than 10%.
Oh,
is what I heard before.
Definitely. So if churches in general would open their mindset to the reality that there are tons of people out there that don't have a church at all, you can really, and if you're intentional about it, continuing those relationships outside outside your bubble, then that's where think about Jesus, the journeys that He went on, how He always, the woman at the well, must needs, the Bible said, He must needs go through Samaria. And I think He went out of His way for a lot of people, and we have to do the same. You're right. We can get in our circles. It happens. I always equate it to our life in high school. You sit down at the same table. You're around the same people.
I sat at the nurse's table.
But you lose sight of the person that's sitting by themselves, or the new person. And I think you have to be intentional to open your eyes and look for people that may not fit in really well with a group, and be sure to include them. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. You have to open your eyes. You have to be intentional about building relationships with people.
I'll tell you, we may have glanced at this a time or two on the show, but high school school in general can be pretty brutal. And
oh yeah,
it was pretty rough, but it wasn't. I don't know. It was rough. I'll put it that way. I won't go into details.
It was pretty rough. It was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. I was bullied a lot, and I weighed 100 pounds in high school. Literally, I don't know how I got so big after I got out of high school.
Well, I was the same way. I was always smaller in high school, and then when I graduated in high school and went to college, that's when I grew, and I was, I wanted to play basketball and other things, and it was past my prime after I had already grown up, late bloomer. But my kids are the same way. Like the people in church, they're in college and they'll come back, wow, you're so tall, you've grown so much. And they have grown. They're taller than me now.
I'll tell you, Jeremiah, that y'all put something in the water out there at Richards because that boy just shot up out of nowhere.
He's growing too.
I'll never forget, though, just growing up like that, and kids would pick on me. I never tried to fit in. That was the thing. But I think there was a couple of times, those Doc Marten shoes were a big deal back then. You remember that? Mm-hmm. You don't hear of those anymore. And I remember I wanted a pair of those Dr. Martens so bad, but they were extremely expensive.
They were.
And every kid in school started wearing Doc Martens, and my brother's friend gave me a pair, and I started wearing, and then things were falling apart. And kids made fun of me about that, and
it is sad. I mean, that is especially the socioeconomic diversity in schools. It really does make that. Now that they still have all that stuff. It's not Doc Martens now. It's the
Hey Dudes.
But the Birkenstock sandals are like $100, and the kids wear them all the time. And it's just always something.
Well, I'd be wearing Sup Dudes, and what would you call those sandals?
No, Birkenstocks. That's the popular.
See, I'd be wearing Birken socks. Is what I'd be wearing.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's neat. But I look at this, Jason. I say all this for a reason, not for like any poor Rob. I'm not seeking that. But what I learned so much through that experience that I learned how I wanted to be treated. Mm-hmm. And as I got older, I think it really did mold a lot of who I am. Obviously, my father, I give him a lot of credit because he taught us a lot of really good life lessons and good morals and ethics. But I go back to how I grew up in high school and the way that I was treated. And I said, I never want anybody to be treated that way or to be left out. And as I got older, it's funny. I became friends with a lot of the people that were jerks to me, and many of them apologized to me as I got older. One guy said, "Well, I don't need one guy's down the road that runs a sausage company, if you know what I mean, big sausage company."
Yeah, I know.
He even told me I didn't know he was there.
Oh, wow.
I hadn't talked to. I'll say it. I don't care. He's a good guy now. But Cody, I hadn't talked to Cody in years. Man, Cody was a punk to me growing up. You know, he was a punk. But and I say that joke. But I didn't know that he was over at the sausage place down the road. And I saw him probably about 2 years ago, and he knows my real name. He goes, "Robin Hipp, is that you?"
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Here we go." You know, and
like Back to the Future.
But you know what he told? But yeah. But you know what he told me? Even then, in that moment, he goes, "Man," he goes, "I know I was a little rough on you." He's like, "I'm sorry, man."
Yeah.
And I forgave all them. And it wasn't like it wasn't one of those where I was like going home crying because of him or anything. But they'd pick on me, and it's cool as you grow up. I think a lot of people, and it just shows his heart that he was a kid, and kids make mistakes. And I'm sure I've said some things too to other kids. As I was I didn't want to be that guy that was getting poked at. So there was some kids that I probably poked at trying to fit in. But it's cool as you grow up and you realize, man, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. And then it takes a lot for somebody to acknowledge that. And here we are. 40 years old, and he acknowledged that.
Well, I've noticed this about you, and one of your characteristics that I love is that you do that. You go out of your way. If you see somebody in church or in the community, you are the person that initiates that contact to say, "Hey, I'm Rob Hipp. How are you?" And then I see that in your life all the time. That's what makes you great at what you do. Is you're not afraid to go up to somebody new and introduce yourself and get to know them and figure out what's going on in their life. And I think that's what makes you a great minister, but also makes you great at this.
Well, I appreciate it, Jason. I don't seek it for the compliment, but I'll tell you this. I do it because, like I said, when I was growing up, I want people to feel included. And it's funny, my mom and I were talking, and she flew with me one time. We went up to North Dakota or South Dakota when my sister lived there. I told Mom, I said, "Mom, never driving there again." I said, "If you want to go, we're going to fly." And she did not like flying. And I told her, I said, "The worst thing that's going to happen is this plane is going to crash and we're going to go see Jesus. And that's not a bad thing." She goes, "Well, I'm not ready to." And then that morning, the plane would go off the runway at Minneapolis, St. Paul, the ice, and it went off. We weren't on that one, so the plane slid off. My mom was sitting there, knuckles were white. Then we get on our plane, and it doesn't go because the electrical is all messed up. She goes, "I told you we shouldn't go." I said, "It's okay, Mom. It's probably going to crash, and that'll be it. So don't worry." But I remember as we sat in that airport, there was several special needs people, and they came and sat right next to us. And my mom said this. She said, and my mom's the same way. She just loves on people, and she always wants to make people feel included. Now, my mom is very shy. But in that moment, that if there was somebody, that shyness goes away, and she wants people to feel included. And I remember at that airport, there were several special needs people that came up, and they chose to sit next to us. And after they got up and left, my mom had talked to them, and my mom says, she goes, "For some reason, people that have needs like that are always drawn to me." And I remember telling her, I said, "Well, Mom, it's because they recognize the heart that you have." And that's just how she is. She was a nurse for so long, and my mom never drove. To this day, she doesn't drive, but she worked as a nurse. And you think about nursing and not driving, it made a fun, challenging situation growing up.
Really.
My dad taught me how to drive when I was little. So at 14 years old, I was sitting on a phone book, driving a stick shift truck.
Yeah, that's good.
Going to pick my mom up at work late at night, and my dad would put a hat on me. And a little bit of my dad's story, so there was a reason that I drove to go get Mom. And he would say, "Son, I better not go out tonight, so you go get your mother." And I'd put on his old baseball cap. So he said, "This makes you look older." And I could barely reach the pedals. But I was sitting on that phone book, man, trying to reach the pedals and drive this old truck, going to pick up Mom. But
that's awesome.
I said that about my mom, Jason, because because she didn't drive, she didn't leave for lunch. And so she developed this loving spirit to all of those residents, because many of them didn't even have family, that would come see them. And she would take her lunch breaks and go eat and sit down with different residents each day. And she did that for 30 years. That was her deal,
Well, I just want to say, so to wrap this segment up, is Jesus says in the Word, "As you do unto the least of these, you do unto me." So I would encourage people today, this week, go out of your way and look for those type of people. Go look for the least of these. When you're in school, if those that are going to school this morning, 8 o'clock, you're late. But look for those people that are sitting by themselves. Look at those outcasts. Look for those people that don't fit in. People that fit in, it's easy for them to communicate and generate friends. But what about those that are on the fringes of society? Jesus went out of his way for those people, and we must open our eyes and have the eyes of Christ and say, as you do unto the least of these, you do unto him. So let's be intentional about building relationships outside of our bubbles.
Yeah, that's good. That's our inspiration today. Good word, Jason.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to take a brief break. I do want to welcome all of you in here, episode 576, as we're rolling here on a Thankful Thursday. Big thank you to Elliot Herzig from Elliot's Jewelers. He's online at elliotsjewelers.com for all of your jewelry needs. We'll have an article coming up soon. Elliot and I had the privilege to go to Huntsville ISD last week and present a small token of appreciation, thanks to the community, to HISD Social Services, and we finally got all that. It was me, finally got all that wrapped up from Rays of Hope way back in June. And also, Elliot, very involved with CASA. We just put an article up on our website about the great work that he is doing through CASA as well. He doesn't do it for the recognition. He does it because, well, it's like you talked about. It's what we're called to do. And Elliot just loves serving this community and helping out nonprofits. So we appreciate him. And, of course, here on this Thankful Thursday, very big special thank you to Jason Bay and First Baptist Church here, Harbor of Hope, in our community. We're going to take a brief break. Our real estate expert joined us. She is the expert. Nobody knows real estate better in this community than our good friend Terry Coleman. And we've got another neighborhood highlight coming your way. We've been talking about neighborhoods over the last couple of weeks. Last week it was Elkins Lake. This week, well, what is it going to be? You'll have to find out. Stay tuned in. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. More to come. It's your show. This is Good Morning Huntsville, again, on a very Thankful Thursday. Stay with us, friends.
Hey friends, Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are safe inside.
This is Guardian Defense in Huntsville, Texas, a trusted, family-owned and operated gun store and range in the heart of East Texas. Guardian Defense is your one-stop destination for Texas LTC, NRA basic pistol and rifle courses, pistol refresher training, as well as a wide selection of quality firearms and ammunition. At Guardian Defense, empowerment is within reach through their Texas DPS-approved license to carry classes. Certified instructors will guide you through every facet of firearm safety, conflict resolution, and the pertinent legal aspects. Book now to become proficient and responsible in handling a firearm with complete confidence. For the eager learners, the fundamentals of pistol and rifle usage await discovery in their comprehensive 8-hour NRA basic courses. You're invited to connect with Guardian Defense on Facebook and Instagram, or give them a call at 936-293-0364. You can also visit them online at guardiandefensellc.com. Guardian Defense, your reliable partner in mastering firearm safety and acquiring quality firearms in the heart of Texas.
The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
Hey friends, Rob Hipp, Media and Community Outreach Minister here at First Baptist Church, Huntsville. Let me ask you, when's the last time you felt real hope? Maybe it's been a while since you've been to church, or maybe you've never felt connected to a church at all. Well, friends, that's okay. Here at First Baptist, we're a harbor of hope, and we welcome everyone just as they are. We have programs throughout the week for all ages to come together, ask questions, grow in faith, and find the hope that only Jesus Christ can bring. Whether you're looking for a fresh start or a community to call home, we'd love for you to join us. Come experience something real. For more information, visit fbchuntsville.org. First Baptist Church, Huntsville, a harbor of hope.
In this harbor of hope, we are
I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
This is KHSP LP, Huntsville, Texas, the spirit of Huntsville.
This is Deneen with Guardian Defense, and you're listening to Spirit Radio.
Support for SpiritRadio.fm comes from loyal listeners just like you. Want to help spread the good news across Huntsville and beyond? Underwriting opportunities are available for loyal listeners, businesses, and nonprofits. Visit SpiritRadio.fm and tap Donate today.
All right, everybody, welcome back as we continue on. Boy, yesterday we had some clouds and this monster of a thunderstorm that was heading right for Huntsville, and then it just decided it would kind of backtrack over towards Livingston, which was a really weird move of that storm. We didn't get any rain out of it, at least in our neighborhood. But today, we may get some more, though. 60%. Chance of rain even higher today, 60% as the day goes on. It'll be only 92. I say only because it's cooling off a little bit, thankfully. And then overnight, 74, 30% chance of rain. And how about Friday? We're not even going to get up to 90 and a 50% chance of rain in the upper 80s. Right now, though, 75 degrees, 94% humidity as you are waking up here on a thankful Thursday. Well, one of the things that we just enjoy is our friend, our real estate expert here, is with us again today. It is none other than the Terry Coleman. There are no other Terry Coleman in this community. That's the only one, right?
Well, you're right. No, there is one other. There's a Terry Coleman. Yes, another Terry Coleman. She's a school teacher. Now, she might be retired by now, but yes. And so there used to be a little confusion when I'd go to pick up my drugs at the pharmacy. So I'd always, one time I ended up with her drugs back home.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so yes, there is another Terry Coleman.
You're like, God.
But not in real estate.
Yeah, not in real estate.
She's a school teacher.
There was a teacher expert and then the real estate expert. Terry
That's right.
Coleman. Terry, I love your shirt, by the way, today. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very colorful. I like that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We are, it kind of feels like fall, kind of, because summer's starting to slowly trickle away. Fall's around the horizon.
I'm beginning to wear long sleeves.
Yeah, look, same.
Yeah.
I did it this morning, only because.
And very comfortable wearing long sleeves. So
yeah, that's good.
So it's not so hot and humid anymore.
I'm usually one that when I wear long sleeves, I'll start like this, and then as the day goes on, I unbutton them and roll them up. It's a really weird, and I like those Magellan shirts because they have that little hook that you wrap onto them. So I wear those quite a bit. The only thing about those Magellan shirts is the day goes on, man, those and trust me, I take a bath, I do all the things, but those Magellan shirts, by the end of the day, they're just not good shirts to have on, as far as that goes, because you're outside. It's like when you let the kids out or let the dogs out and they come back in, you're like, where did that come from? So, we're here with Terry Coleman. She is our real estate expert here on Hello Huntsville. It's always a privilege to catch up with you, Terry. It's been about a week or two. I know we've had you on a little bit more just to kind of catch up because you had such a busy summer. But let us know what you've been up to since the last time we saw you.
Well, let's see. I'm really excited. We are expanding with another company called Texas Home Solutions. It's a Texas company helping Texans. And so therefore, we'll be able to do not only commercial but residential, but we'll also be able to help those who are in distress or own a distressed property. And that can mean many different things. That could be that maybe you inherited a property here in Texas, but you live off somewhere else, don't want to mess with it, so now this is a problem to you. It could be that maybe you're entering into foreclosure. What this company does is they help people bypass foreclosure. So therefore, once you're foreclosed on, that's a 7-year atomic bomb on you. You can't go buy another house. Sometimes you can't rent an apartment. So this company helps those who are in need for whatever the reason is, a divorce, foreclosure, inheritance, anything that you don't want to, you need to sell your property fast and not put it on MLS. So we're going to be a full service company now. So
Awesome.
help everybody and every one of their needs.
Well, that's great. Terry, you have a heart for this community. You've been so involved for many, many years. We call you the real estate expert because you are. I mean, we were just
Thank
talking
you.
before you came on about a neighborhood that we're going to highlight. We'll transition into that here in just a few moments. We were talking about different neighborhoods, and I mean, right away you started naming all these things that I had no idea about, and that just shows folks out there and showed me. I already knew you were the expert, but I mean, you really do know these communities. Talk about today, we're going to highlight another great property that's here in Huntsville, and it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's hidden because it's a beautiful property, but it's right, I mean, it's right off 45 if you think about it. It's a beautiful place here in Huntsville.
So, are you referring to my property at Elkins Lake, or are you referring to Forest Hills?
No, Forest Hills,
Okay.
yeah.
So our subdivision.
Both of them are kind of cool,
Okay.
yeah.
So our subdivision today is Forest Hills. This is a subdivision that is not a big subdivision, but it's not a small subdivision. It's made up of probably 10 streets. It's located right off of Normal Park or next to Wiesner's, where Eastham Road is, and Cross Timbers, and then back. And like I said, it's about 7 to 8 streets. Beautiful properties, beautiful homes. It's what we would consider an established subdivision. The homes out there are from the 1970s, early 70s to 2000. There's 6 properties on the market right now. There's not a lot of homes that come on the market there because it's just a great neighborhood, and people come in and they stay, and a lot of first-time home buyers buy out there. The price ranges from, right now, these 6 that are on the market range from $237 to $387.
Not bad.
So it's not bad. It's a very affordable subdivision. There's no HOA. That makes it even nicer. It is got one playground there, so it's got a playground for the kids right there at Pine Valley and Willow Bend. It's just it's a community that is close to everything. You're close to Sam Houston, you're close to Normal Park, which takes you anywhere and everywhere, to 11th Street. So it's just a community that's close to everything. Another community that you would maybe compare it to would be the Avenues, because the Avenues is a stable, solid community. But now those properties in the Avenues are going to be older. These will be in the early 70s to the 2000.
I'm just looking here, Terry, and unfortunately I can't show these because our Restream thing, I can't run it from this. I'm just looking, though. Look at these homes. This home sold for $240, and that is a beautiful. It needs a little bit. It's still got the older brown cabinets,
yeah.
But that's an easy paint roll to fix that. I mean,
right.
that would take one Sunday to fix that after church. But these are beautiful homes. And one thing that I love, we have several members of our church here, and we were talking about this, during the break. Here at First, several of our members live out in Forest Hills. One, a long-standing member that's been here, goodness, for probably well over 50 years. He said he came to this church since he was a baby in a crib, is how he described it. And in fact, his home, he has a piece of the original stained glass from this church that is in his home there. They built it into a wall. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Because, the church burned many, many years ago. And that was the first time that I had ever been into a home there in Forest Hills, and I just thought, man, this is beautiful. The trees, the scenery, that's something that you're not going to get in a lot of cities. Huntsville is so unique because we have the beautiful piney woods. It is so nice when you're driving through. In that area, if you're looking for a home, a young family, the traffic's not too bad.
It's not.
It's quiet. It's just a beautiful part of Huntsville.
And it's family-centered, meaning that it's just a well-established neighborhood. Kids play out in the street, that kind of stuff. It's just a very family-centered neighborhood. And the nice thing about these homes is these are not tract homes. These are custom-built homes, and even though some of them were back in the 70s, they're solid-built homes, you know. And I'm not saying anything negative against tract homes, but there's just a difference. There's these homes that are custom-built, that are solid-built, and then there's the tract homes that you get more home for the money maybe, but they're not built like a custom home.
I think a lot of when you go into a lot of neighborhoods and you see homes in a lot of developed neighborhoods, they all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was talking with you earlier about Kay Hovnanian Homes, who's building here, and they're a home builder like that, but the homes look unique, and it's really neat to see that in a neighborhood.
And that's what's great, about them.
And I look at these homes. I'm looking at the ones that have sold, and Terry, I'm thinking I need to get with you and put my house in Elkins on the market. My wife won't like this probably, but I need to put that house in Elkins on the market and say Sayonara and head over here to Fort. These are nice homes.
They're nice homes.
And I've always wanted a house that just has a really nice front porch.
And it's a small,
look at
what we
this.
consider a small neighborhood, so it will be easy to get to know everyone in the neighborhood.
Look, these homes have sold for under $300,000, and I know, you know, if you go back 20 years, your jaw would $300,000 for that's cheap now.
Oh, yes, it is.
And I'm sitting here looking. Look at this, Terry.
Mm-hmm. You know, the median home price here in Huntsville is about $230,000. That's the median. Now, of course, you can get them less, you can get them more, but you know, the average price here in Huntsville is about $230,000.
One thing about Forest Hills, too, you're the expert at this, but just from me on the outside looking in, anywhere in Huntsville, it's so easy to get to. But right there, I mean, you're located within, I would even estimate within 5 minutes of everything. It is so quick to get around once you're already in that area. Mm-hmm. Again, the traffic is, there's some vehicles, but it's not that terrible. And then they just built the new Smileys over there right off of, what is that, 75? Mm-hmm. And that's easy to get over. You just hop across the street. You're right there if you need to fill up a tank of gas or just get a convenient item and go back home. Mm-hmm. But then if you need to run to HEB, you just take a ride. And literally, I guarantee you can get there in 5 minutes.
Or if you want to go to Ironworks or, you know, that's, you know, I live in New Waverly, but my life is here in Huntsville. And so, yes, in fact, I used to live in Forest Hills. That was the first house. In fact, I'll tell you, it's 204 Normal Park. It's the first house Max and I ever bought with a 14% interest rate.
Wow. I remember you telling me about how those interest
14% interest rate.
And did y'all feel like, man, we got a deal, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah, because everything else was at 16 and 18. And, boy, we got a deal.
I had a friend of mine, Russell Barnett, help me. He does a great job with mortgages.
Yes, he does.
And he told me, he goes, well, Rob, he goes, here's what you need to do. And he said, you're not going to be able to get anything for the next 6 months unless you do what I tell you to do. And he said, I'm not a financial planner or any of that, so don't, you know, I'm just telling you my opinion. Here's what you need to do. And I took his advice and I did what he told me. And guess what? In 6 months, I was able to secure the loan that I needed. And he worked through some hoops, but we got it done. And
Russell's great. I send a lot of my clients to Russell.
Yeah, he does, and he cares about what he does, and he's just a genuinely good dude. You know, it's always, I don't know any other way to say it, just genuine good dude. But he called me. He goes, well, he's kind of nervous. He goes, well, I got some news for you, man. I said, what's that? And he goes, well, I could only get your interest at 3 1/4. And did I ever tell you that story?
Yes.
Yeah, and I was sitting there laughing. I said, dude, don't even worry about it. My interest rate in Georgetown was 6 1/4. I thought it was going to be like 8 or 9. I was, you know, when he told me that, he's like, oh, I got some news. I was like, oh, here we go. And ended up being 3 1/4. And I said, man, sign, seal, and deliver that bad boy. And that's a 30-year fixed. Mm-hmm. I did want to mention something, Terry, that I know you're not on the mortgage side of the business, but you understand a lot of it, obviously, being in the real estate market now for many decades. You know this area better than anyone as our expert. I would say this, be careful, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you can agree with me.
Okay.
So this is my opinion, but you can agree to agree or agree to disagree or disagree completely.
Okay. Well, now I can't wait to hear what it is.
Yeah, see, I'm putting you on the spot. I know several people that, you know, they told me, man, I got this great rate. And they told me the rate. I said, yeah, that's great. And he goes, yeah, but then after 10 years, it only goes up to this. And I've never been a fan of those rates that fluctuate because you really don't know what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, is that a positive thing or a negative thing? Because I don't know a whole lot about it. What do they call those, variables?
Variables. For me personally, I wouldn't do one. Okay,
because it'll be like a 10-year fix, and then after that, you don't know, right?
And that's really what happened back in 2008 was,
man.
Things that people were able to get into these wonderful homes, and then all of a sudden, their interest rates went up on them because they did a variable, and now they couldn't afford it. Now, what they could have done was refinance, possibly. But then that costs a lot of money when you refinance, a couple $1,000s to refinance usually. So, I wouldn't do it personally. And right now, interest rates are 6.5. That's a nice interest rate.
Bad.
That is not bad at all. And I'll tell you what now, I've gone to a lot of seminars. I've done a lot of studying. And the experts are saying that we're going to get a rate cut in September.
Nice.
Some are predicting as much as 0.25%.
When they talk about the Fed, I think of this guy in like this leery room with this big switch, and he just like it's a yoke on an aircraft, not a yoke, but a throttle on an aircraft or whatever you call it, right?
And he has a long beard.
Yeah, he's a long beard,
big hat.
Has a little glass over here on the side, and he's like, well, today I kind of feel like ramping it up a little bit, and I just think of him in there with this stick. He's just pushing it up a little bit. That's not how it works, though.
That's not how it works. But yes, it's kind of this ugly, scary guy.
But there is a lot of great opportunities to get plugged in. Terry Coleman, she knows this area, and she's been doing it for many, many years. Terry, I've asked you this before, but we'll just circle back. What have you enjoyed in this journey? It's been over 3 decades now. And I don't know how because you're only 32.
That's right.
But what has the journey been like for you?
The journey's been great. It has allowed me to do a lot of things that I may not have been able to do, like raise my kids, kind of be a halfway stay-at-home mom. So it's allowed me to have that flexibility to be the schoolroom mother when I wanted to be the schoolroom mother. So, and then it's allowed me to help other families achieve their goals and their dreams of having a home. I think I've told this story before where there was a family coming in. In fact, it was the very first home I sold, and there was a family coming in from California with a special needs child, and all this was happening in the month of December. And so while she was at closing, Max and I went to the house and decorated a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And had presents. So I've gotten to do a lot of things like that.
And so what Terry is telling you is if you want to sell your home, wait till December and
I'll do your Christmas tree.
And just leave the house for a little bit. That is one. And you know what's so neat about that? That was the first home for you. And just think about
and
that.
What a memory.
And Jason and I were just talking about the acts of kindness and just thinking about folks who need somebody to think about them. And that, I believe, that act alone right there has propelled your career because you cared about them in that situation, not just to sell a home, right?
Right.
And there's some people out there that's all they're in it for, and that's okay. I mean, that's the job. But I think what it takes in the real estate market is somebody that's going to say, you know what, I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to build a relationship with people because I believe, and you believe this too, it's a life-lasting relationship.
It is. And I could say probably one of the best compliments I ever received in my real estate industry was I had a family that I sold a home to, and then afterwards, I don't know, maybe a month later, we took them out to dinner and stuff. And then her comment was, she said, I have to tell you something. She said, you're the only realtor that I've met that has also become a friend.
Wow.
She said, because a lot of realtors, like what you just said, they make you feel like you're going to be their friend, and then as soon as the house is sold, they're gone. And she said, I was new into this town. I didn't know anyone, and I've met more people just through you introducing me to people, and I feel like you're a friend.
I call it I just coined the term. It's called a transactional friendship.
Great.
During the transaction, then after that, it's gone. Yours is a genuine friendship. Mm-hmm. I was, as you were talking, I was thinking about this. There's a lady in Georgetown, Annette Montgomery, who had always helped me, and she was so wonderful. There was a lady before her named, boy, my mind just went blank. She's the one that sold me the house. But her and Annette both were so good to me, and they remind me a lot of you. Boy, that lady is going to get so mad at me for forgetting her name, but it just went, boy, she's really going to be upset. I cannot remember her name.
Before the show's over, you'll remember
yeah,
her name and you'll
definitely
speak
will.
it.
But what I was thinking is, this is what I was getting at. You know, for 10 years, she sent me a thank you card. Every year on the anniversary of that house when I bought that house, she sent me a thank you card every single year. And then for the first 2 years, there was a gift basket on the front porch. And I said, you know, that was really neat that she did that. And Annette helped me when I sold the house, and then also helped my mother. And there was several things that my mom was going through when we sold my grandmother's home, and Annette would drive over there. And I thought a lot about you, because I know those are the things that you do. You go above and beyond. And you're all about making the relationships last. And that's what it's about, because, you know, yeah, you're selling a home, and you may not sell a home again for that same person for another 10, 20, 30 years. But you know what? 30 years down the road, you're still in business. You're the expert. Now you're the super expert because you've done so many of them. They're going to think, well, I wonder if Terry's still in business. Well, she is. Look at that. And somehow she's 30 years younger than when she started.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. She uses that, gets rid of that gray.
Well, Terry, one other thing you brought for us, we forgot to do this. Yeah. Josh will have to pop the camera on you on this one, all right? This is our super segment here.
So, if you need to borrow a cup of sugar or you just have some real estate questions, I'm your real estate expert. Give me a call.
There you go. The cup of sugar is here.
The cup of suger,
and it is.
And it's real sugar.
And it is legitimate sugar, all right? I remember one day.
Yeah, I got busted one time.
One day she brought in a flower. Well, before we go, one other thing. Is there anything else related to any of that you wanted to mention?
Excuse me. I've got a bug in my throat. No, just really, if you have any kind of need, please give us a call. And like I said, I'm real excited about going in with Texas Home Solutions, because they're really going to be able to help those who are in need that can't afford to go through regular real estate and sell their home. If they need to, for whatever reason, medical reasons, whatever your reasons are, this is a great company that's going to be able to help you, that we're partnering with.
And Terry, what's that number?
936-581-4434.
4434. We'll put it up right there. Just popped it up on the screen. And so it is Terry Coleman, our real estate expert, 936-581-4434.
That's right.
Did I get that right?
You got it. Perfect.
And then finally, one of my favorite parts of your segment, it is time for the jewelry shine.
The jewelry.
The jewelry. What do we have going today, Terry?
Okay, well, what I have, I've had this on before, but it's a necklace, and the stone is a natural stone, and it's fuchsianite, which comes from Brazil. You can find some mines in Russia, but it's a natural stone.
Oh, cool.
And what it actually has in it is what they call muscite.
Can I see that again real quick?
I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's crushed. Has crushed rubies in it.
Yeah, look at that. That is. We'll hold that one up there. We're going to start a jewelry show here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Terry.
And so if any of you guys would like for me to demonstrate your jewelry, just send me some jewelry.
Yeah, just send it to her.
I'm kind of recycling back, because I know I've done this.
I don't remember that one, though.
It was back when you were in a different location.
Okay.
So.
And where did that one come from?
We were actually visiting some friends in Arizona, and they took us, I wish I could remember the name of the town, but they took us to this little town that had donkeys running through it. I don't know what that town's name is, but it was a little western town, like everything was back in the day. There was really no one living there much anymore, but it had become kind of a tourist. And I bought it at one of the shops. It just kind of caught my eye, and I was like, oh, I think I need to have that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, that's what you get. You get the dose of real estate, and then you get the jewelry here when you're on.
And you get the sugar.
And you get the sugar. So, well, it's Terry Coleman again. When you're thinking of real estate, think of Terry Coleman first. She's doing such a great job, and has been for many decades here in Walker County, and she's also serving areas outside of this area as well.
Can I say one more
thing?
thing?
Yes, ma'am, please.
So here in Huntsville, there's the Safe House. And, I've been on the board at the Safe House for the last 3 years. And I'm stepping down from being on the board of that organization. So we are needing other board members. There's a couple of spots available. If you have a desire to help this organization, help those women in need, please apply to be on the board. Of Safe House.
It's a great, we support Safe House during our Rays of Hope every year, and
yes,
and just love the work that they're doing over there. Tracy's done a phenomenal job as the director. Tammy's been over there for a long time.
Tammy Farkas has done a great job.
And we're going to miss her. In fact, here in the next few days, she's going to be stepping down. She's moving on to another role outside of the Safe House now. We're going to miss Tammy, but it is such a great organization. Thank you for your service to Safe House.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I enjoyed it. I was glad to be there, but I need to step down. My time's up. 3.5 years, your time's up.
And it goes like this, right?
Yes, it does.
It's like we were just talking to Jace. It's been 10 years here for him, and it just seems like it was yesterday, whenever these times pass. So, well, Terry, thank you so much. Always a privilege to have you here.
Thank you.
And tell your wonderful husband hello. We think the world of Max. He's a great man, and and I know y'all probably got some more touring going on eventually, right? What do y'all got next on the vacation package?
Well, I would like to go to Lake Tahoe.
Okay. You been before?
I have many, many years ago. And so we were just talking about, what we'd want to do for Christmas or whatever. So Lake Tahoe or Murphy, North Carolina. So those are the two places we're talking about.
All right. Well, there she is, Terry Coleman, our real estate expert. Again, give her a call. We've got that number up on the screen. You can reach her for all of your real estate needs, whether you're buying or selling. Think of Terry first. Think of the real estate expert here in Walker County. We'll step aside. We'll take a break as we continue on. Pastor Jason here, First Baptist, rejoins us when we come back. And we couldn't have friends like Terry on if it wasn't for our foundation support, such as FBC. More information online at... Oh, my audio cut out. More information online at fbchuntsville.org. We'll take a brief break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. More to come. It's your show. As always, this is Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be right back after this.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope.
Well, we're taking you on a journey this morning from real estate to the best in state. It's news you can use from Studio 1229J. Here's Jason Bay.
All right.
Did you like that? From the real estate to the, what did I say? To the entire, I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. That was great, though, Rob, as always. The live intros. We need to put that on a recording so that each time you can just hit a button and you can save your voice.
I'm going to AI James Earl Jones's voice and just, or Sean Connery would be better. And now it's Jason Bay. I am the last one.
All right, news you can use. Just a few stories this morning that I want to share with you. My wife, she sells Basset Hounds. Now we're not one of these puppy mills. We just have a few Basset Hounds, and they are great dogs. By the way, they're great farm dogs. You know, we love them. And we've always loved having Bassets, so we've bred them throughout the years, and they're AKC registered. But over the years, my wife has developed friendships with different people that she's sold to, kind of like what Terry was just saying in her real estate business. You know, when you do business with people and you care about people, then it's natural that you become friends with them. Anyway, my wife, she sold a basset hound to an older lady that lived in Highland Park up in Dallas, which is a fancy neighborhood up in Dallas, those that don't know. And this lady, Kim went up there and delivered the dog to her and all this. And they had this big, nice house. And I guarantee you the lady probably has lost more money in her couch cushions than we've ever made.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kim, she was so sweet to Kim, and so Kim checks on her from time to time over the years. She's had dogs for a few years now, and she's still checked up on her. So Kim was checking up on her the other day, and they have a house on Cape Cod, and they go to Cape Cod during the summers. They spend time there because it's cooler and whatnot. So Kim called her, and the lady, and it was interesting because I found this news story that corresponded with something that happened to the lady. So the lady says that she's up there in Cape Cod, and she gets bit by a tick, and the tick had Lyme disease, and now she's fighting Lyme disease. But this article came out. It says, we no longer can eat burgers or ice cream, all because of a tick bite. A bug-borne disease has taken over Martha's Vineyard and is turning people vegan, locals claim. And in this article, it talks about this epidemic that's occurring up in Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod, all of that area, because of this, what they're calling the Lone Star tick. It's a specific type of tick that's really growing up there. And people many people are getting it. And one of the reasons they're getting it is because there's so many deer up there, and a lot of deer carry this type of tick. And I thought that was interesting that the lady that she talked to is dealing with that as well. But in Texas here, and in Elkins Lake, you guys have a ton of deer, and these ticks typically are really replicate themselves, reproduce in areas where there is an overabundance of deer. So be on the lookout for the Lone Star tick, and don't get attacked by this life-threatening disease, Lyme disease, and this other type of sickness that people are getting from the Lone Star tick. You ever been bit by a tick?
No, I've had one on me. It didn't bite me, thankfully. And where we used to live in Georgetown, Jason, there was a ton of deer. In fact, I never forget, I had Bridget's cousin, his friend came over, and boy, I about ran him out of the house because he's a hunter. Okay, we lived in a neighborhood. You know where I'm going with this. My back porch, I built a screened-in porch on the backyard. I go home one day, and he's over there visiting with because Bridget's cousin lived with us for a while, so her cousin was there and his friend. They had buckets set up in that back little porch area, and the window was open. Guess what was sticking out of that window? I said, dude, come on, man. These deer are like, you don't hunt the deer. And the guy behind us had 13 acres, so it wasn't like he was shooting in towards the house. But that's not hunting. Them deer. Now, I'll say that, and he had a silencer on the thing, too. And we lived in the county, so I don't know what the laws are about all that. But I will say this. I wasn't a fan of it, but I did help eat it.
So he had a freezer full is what you're saying.
Yeah.
This lady says she woke up at 2 a.m. with major stomach cramps and thought she had food poisoning. She said, I managed to go back to sleep, but woke up 4 hours later and covered in hives. I almost fainted from sitting up. That's how low my blood pressure was. But watch out for the Lone Star tick and this that's going around. But especially up in Cape Cod area, Martha's Vineyard, all of that, they're really experiencing due to the overpopulation of deer that are allowing the ticks to grow. But I was just thinking about Lone Star tick. What if that dog that we gave to her somehow got a Lone Star tick and took it up there?
I was thinking that sounds like a good restaurant. Like, where do y'all want to go eat tonight, boy? Let's go to the Lone Star Tick. It's got a good name to it, right?
that lady said that she takes they go up to the beach up there, and they take the dog and walk the dog, and she says every time they walk the dog, she says everybody stops and asks, "Oh, that's such a beautiful dog," and ask her about where she got the dog. And we actually sold another one to a friend of hers.
Oh, cool.
That was from that area. Last night, because Kim's got a few left that we're selling currently, and she got a phone call from somebody from Utah that wants to fly down and pick up a basset hound.
Did they say but Western Union you the money,
No.
That you already know about all those.
We all know the scams. There's so many scams out there that we require them to pay in person, and also we ask them to FaceTime us so that we can actually see them and they can actually see the dog. That it's not something they've used our website before. Scammers have used our website, cloned it to scam other people.
Wow, man.
They get the deposit money. That's what they do. Send me the deposit money, and we'll hold the dog for you. They send them $100, $200, sometimes $300 or $400, and then that's it. It's radio silence from that point. They get scammed. All right, the USPS just changed its delivery rules. Here's how it could affect your next package. This article talks about the USPS. I don't know if you've noticed, but probably not in your area, but some of your packages may have been delayed lately, or you may have been seeing that the USPS is changing the way that it does its packages to save some money. And what they're doing is they're creating basically like a hub and spoke model. UPS has used this model for a long time. If you follow your packages, you probably notice that all the packages, if you follow the tracking information, all of them go to certain places. I think what's the place down in Houston or near Houston where they all go? But there's a UPS hub down there.
Mesquite, I think. I always see it come out of Mesquite.
Yeah, there is one there as well, and Amazon has these different hubs as well. But there's that's the way that they've done it. So the USPS is switching. They used to follow the zip codes, but now they're switching to a hub and spoke model, which will probably affect the delivery service, especially to rural areas. So if you're not in the city limits, you could see this affecting the way that your packages, not necessarily your mail, but your packages are delivered. I recently saw this with some of the packages that we had ordered. One of the things that they're doing and trying to save money is combining shipments. So like if you have a shipment that's due, a package that's due on Tuesday and Wednesday, what you'll see is them combine those and deliver them all on Wednesday.
It sounds like they're just taking a page out of Amazon's book. You know, the USPS has been losing money for years, and it's funny how I'm not getting political, but it's funny how a government-ran institution cannot turn a profit, yet UPS and FedEx have been making money for years.
Yeah, not only that, there's more delivery services. Amazon, now Walmart. We talked about that last week.
And I was just thinking about this. Why doesn't the government just pay Amazon and just utilize their services, their infrastructure, and just do away with what they do? Because it's inefficient. And I'm not knocking the mail carriers. I know many of them. I knew one named James. He used to have Dallas Cowboy tickets. He'd sell me 2 of his seats every year. And
nice.
And I thought, just once a year though, and that was back
to the preseason games.
No, he had tickets to Texas Stadium. James did. 38 rows off of one of the goalposts. Beautiful corner seats. 38 rows up, and he only paid $60 a ticket, and he bought 4, so he paid $240 a game. Had season tickets for years, and he had to get rid of them when the new stadium was built because they tripled and quadrupled in price. But I mentioned the mail because just pay Amazon to take care of the mail, and we wouldn't have any problems anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. But especially in those rural areas,
and Amazon comes out to those, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and we don't really have a problem. You can still do, like we live at the end of the county line towards the west side of the county. And actually we live in Montgomery County, but you can, right across the road is Walker County, and right across the road on the other side is Grimes County. So we live at the point of Montgomery County, Walker County, and Grimes County, all right there.
Do they deliver at y'all's fence, or do they actually drive up the driveway and deliver to the house?
It depends on what it is. If it's a small package, I have a little parcels box that they put it in, and they love that. But then if it's a bigger package, they'll actually drive all the way down to the house. And they've always been so sweet. The the UPS driver carries little dog treats with it, so whenever they drive up, the dogs are all wagging their tails and run out there. It's a great strategy. I must give it to them. Instead of trying to fight the dogs, they try to love the dogs, and it is a great way of doing it. Anyway, moving on. Wall Street Journal has an ad. Six Flags is having a seriously scary summer. The theme park chain is grappling with declining attendance, bad weather, broken rides, and construction delays. Plus, its hot new ride is going viral for all the wrong reasons. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but Six Flags is closing a lot of its outside parks and trying to consolidate money and to keep the major theme parks afloat. They've really experienced a lot of decline over the past few years. Even after COVID, they've really seen a drop off. But the viral thing that they've experienced is one of their rides broke down several times, and 32 people were stuck on a ride at Six Flags America in Maryland, and they ended up having to they were stuck on the ride for so long that they ended up having to take many of these people to the emergency room to the hospital because of them being upside down, stuck on the ride for so long. Now, how would you like to do that?
No, I don't like those rides to begin with. And you know about these theme parks, Jason? They've done it to themselves because they started allowing this Flash Pass mess.
Yeah.
And then it's now you got to be some VIP if you want to even enjoy the park. Mm-hmm. And here's the deal. Bridget and I, when we went years and years ago, her little sister, who's getting married this weekend, will be at the wedding. We took her when she was a junior in high school, and because she had never been to a theme park. And we realized right away we're not even going to get to ride one ride. And back then we didn't have a whole lot of responsibilities. We didn't have children, certainly. And so it was easy for us to go purchase that Flash Pass upgrade. That's the only way you could enjoy the park.
And I'm telling you what, my situation is unique because I have so many children, but everything there is so overpriced. I feel like if they would reduce the prices of the drinks and the food, like that, the kids over the summer they went to Universal Studios with the youth group to Universal Studios out in Florida because they were going to a conference out there, and the water was it was cheaper to buy a soda than it was to get a thing of bottled water, and you couldn't find like water fountains anywhere around the park. And they did that in Dallas, and at the one in Dallas, Six Flags, that we went there a couple of summers ago, and it was so hot, and you literally couldn't find any water because they're trying to push you to the places to buy $6 Coke. You know what I'm saying? And everything, it seems like they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of people as possible. It's almost like they're declining attendance, and so in order to combat that, they raise the prices of everything else, and that just causes the attendance to go down even more. It's a terrible strategy. I think they need to rethink their ways of how they're trying to generate more income.
As a child, I would get excited about the thought of going to a theme park, and as I got older and realized the number of people, I'm not being negative, but it's just a miserable time.
Yeah,
it's just miserable going to those parks now.
I used to love going to them when I was younger. I couldn't wait to go. Remember, I don't know if you ever had the chance to go to Astroworld in Houston. That was a big deal. When I was a kid, we would go down to Astroworld, and they closed that one, and then we would go to Six Flags in Dallas. But yeah, now I've gone and it's kind of lost its luster. I don't like riding the rides, and my kids don't really like riding them that much either, so it's kind of a waste. But we used to take the youth here every summer to take them up there after Vacation Bible School. It's kind of a reward for helping out in Vacation Bible School. We'd take them up there for the day. But even then, even our youth have gotten to the point where they're like, maybe we should go somewhere else. So
now let's just play Minecraft or Fortnite, call it a day. That'd be great. That's cheaper.
Yeah. Next article from the Wall Street Journal. There's a new drug on the streets. It's stronger than fentanyl, and it's a drug you've never heard of, and it's killing hundreds every year. This drug is called nitazenes, and they are developed in China. It's a synthetic opioid, and has a far stronger punch than even fentanyl. Now, this new drug is 50 to 250 times as potent as heroin and up to 5 times the strength of fentanyl. And you probably haven't heard of it, but you will begin hearing about it more and more because they're putting this drug in other drugs to increase their potency, and it's a lot cheaper to manufacture. So nitazines have been found in party drugs like cocaine, ketamine, and ecstasy, but one dose of this are killing people. So be aware of nitazines that are coming to all over in America and other places. It's a pretty scary thing when you think about the way that drugs are being consumed, and I have a chart here. I know we can't put this online this quickly, but 0.4 milligrams of this nitazine is equivalent to 200 milligrams of morphine.
Goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
You think, like, growing up, and you don't even hear about DARE anymore. Remember that drug abuse resistance education, that program? Everybody used to wear a DARE shirt, and I very rarely see that anymore, even hear about it. That used to be, DARE campaigns were all over the place. And I wonder, I started thinking about this, Jason, as you were talking about that. I wonder if the lack of the public awareness of how dangerous a lot of these drugs are through programs like that. DARE was everywhere. And I remember growing up, I never wanted to touch drugs because of DARE. I remember that. Well, obviously my parents, but DARE, I remember seeing it everywhere I went on billboards. I'd hear about it on the radio. No. And in the past 20 years, I've maybe seen one DARE shirt now.
I think the education is the key to let our children know that, and they've done a campaign on fentanyl. You've probably seen the One Pill Can Kill campaign that they're pushed towards, especially towards children, because you go to a party or you go to something and someone offers you a pill or to take, and one of those pills can kill you, and it can cause tremendous damage, if not kill you, cause tremendous damage to you mentally and physically, and it's just a matter of educating the public. But this drug is actually manufactured in laboratories in China and pushed out through the world. So
see, Phyllis had a good comment. Phyllis Diller joined us this morning, and she's exactly right. She said, I hate that these drugs are so easily accessible. And she's right. They're extremely easily accessible, and you hear about it all the time.
And it's in such small doses. It's so easy, and even in our prison system, it's so easy to smuggle these into the prison system. They're experiencing, I talked to Chaplain Holmes, and they're experiencing an epidemic in the prison system of drug use with the use of fentanyl, and I'm sure this drug is next on the list.
Yeah, man, it's terrible news.
Well, to end with some other interesting information from the Reader's Digest. I know you love the Reader's Digest.
We need to have a special section devoted to
that's
news.
That's why I try to include it.
Reader's Digest.
Yeah, it's so old-fashioned, but it's so awesome at the same time. But do you know the coins that you have in your pocket, quarters, dimes, do you know why they have little ridges around them?
That's so whenever you get chigger bites, you can scratch them with it, because that's what I do.
Yeah, or you get behind the person in line that's getting a scratch-off ticket, and they're up there at the counter using it to scratch off the ticket. That's and you're waiting there thinking, okay, I didn't.
That's a whole nother story. When people do that, can you please quit thinking that it's okay to throw all that scratch-off stuff in the floor? Because they just throw it everywhere. Somebody's got to clean that up. Anyway.
Yeah, all right. So why do the coins have ridges on them? Well, this is the reason why coins have have ridges on them. This is because when the coins were first manufactured, they actually the coin itself had value because of the precious metal that was in the coin. That's the way that you actually found value in the coin. It was based on the metal that was in that coin. So what scammers and thieves would do, they would take the coin and they would scrape the edges of the coin and collect some of that metal shavings and skim a little around the edges of the coin, make the coin a little bit lighter but less noticeable. Oh. And over time, they would skim off the top and get enough money and melt that metal down and then go and and sell that metal.
Pretty smart idea.
Yeah.
If you're a scammer.
Well, scammers are so ingenious, aren't they?
Yeah.
If they just spent their time and money and efforts and energy on something more productive, just think what they could accomplish. But this was the reason they put ridges on them was to try to prevent criminals from doing this. So it's actually a anti-forgery measure of putting the ridges around them, and that's why we have dimes, quarters, half dollars, and some dollars have ridges on them, and pennies and nickels do not. There you go.
One of the coolest things that I ever bought growing up was a scanner. I always wanted a scanner. You remember the old flatbed scanners? Now it's nothing. But back then, and it used what's called a parallel port. This was before USB. Big old long. It was a big wide cable that you plugged, like the printer cable. You'd plug that bad boy into your printer, into your scanner, plug the other end of the computer, and then you'd load it up, and then rant, and then it'd go and you'd scan in all your photos. And
I remember that.
One of the coolest scanners I ever bought. You could put negatives in it on the top of it, and it would scan in the negatives. Well, one day I thought, oh, this would be kind of cool to scan in a $20 bill, right? And I had no malicious intent whatsoever. Right. I thought it'd be so cool to scan in a $20 bill, and so I scanned that thing in, and then I flipped it. And now you're thinking, well, he was planning this. No, I wasn't. I just thought it'd be cool and so I flipped it over, and I scanned in the other side, and then I printed it. And I mean, it looked like a good $20 bill,
legit, right?
Yeah, and I showed it to my dad. He's like, oh, it's pretty neat. He's like, but I think that's illegal. He said, don't be doing that. And he goes, in fact, let me have that. And I said, well, Dad, I'm not going to use it. He goes, I know, but just let me have it because I don't want you getting in any trouble. Because he goes, I think it is like a federal crime, and you'll get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, whatever. And I'd wadded that thing up and kind of so it was, it kind of had a little bit, but you could tell if you held it up to 20. Yeah. And again, no malicious intent whatsoever. Well, here's what happened. My dad would go to the mobile Exxon gas station and get coffee every morning from a guy there. His name was Mohammed, and my dad and Mohammed had a good friendship. And every morning my dad would go in there and get coffee. And, it, back then it was like 30 cents. I mean, it was something ridiculous, right? Well, my dad goes in there one day, and he did not do this intentionally. He had that fake $20 bill in his wallet. He went in and he used it on accident. And he came back to me, and he goes, son, I think I accidentally used that $20 and gave it to Mohammed. And so he had to go back to the store and tell him and give him a real 20, but he had accidentally given Mohammed that fake $20 bill to buy the coffee with.
That's awesome.
So, I was like, my dad was being a counterfeit money launderer back then.
That's right.
I was running the operation. Dad was making change with it.
You had the scanner going.
Yeah, so that was it. And I remember my dad, though, he knew that he didn't do it on purpose. He goes, I need to get back up there quick. And so he did, and he made it right. And he said, don't ever do that again, son. He goes, because I put that thing in my wallet for some reason. I was going to show it to somebody, and he goes, and then get rid of it, and I accidentally used it. So that's my story for my dad's counterfeit days.
Well, let me tell you, as we close, let's get ready to close, I wanted to just share a couple of things that's going on here at the church.
Yeah, please.
This Sunday, Brother Don is going to share the message with us this morning, that morning, and Sunday morning. And he has a really great message on, we've been going through the whole book of Hebrews. And through that, we finished last Sunday on chapter 13. But through that, he said, I want to go back and I want to touch on one element of Hebrews. And that is finding rest. And we deal with so much of our lives, and especially at this time of the year, we have school starting back, kids going off to college, all that, all the routine of life starting back. We get so busy. One of his teachers came up to him and this past week of school starting. She just said, "I'm so tired." She goes, "I just need some rest." And that inspired him to think about what the Bible says about finding rest and how we can find true rest in a life packed full of busyness. So I hope everybody out there will come and hear a message that is dedicated to finding rest. And Rob and I and our staff here, we've been really working on over 10 years that I've been here. Over the 10 years, we've looked at all our different ministries and how to streamline ministries to make them flow and to get people that are on the fringes involved in our church. So the church doesn't become one of those circles, those bubbles that's closed in, where it's always accessible to people that are on the outside, or new people that are coming in. And so what we've developed is a ministry pipeline that we're calling First Sundays. And First Sundays is going to be a Sunday night ministry at 6 o'clock where people can come. It's basically like a ministry fair where you can learn about different areas of our church and pray over those different areas of our church. This is something we're really excited about. We're encouraging all of our new members, all of our prospective members, anybody to come and find out ways that you can get involved in our church and the ministries of our church. We're not just coming together and doing nothing with it. We're coming together and preparing to go out into the community and make a difference.
Yeah, I love it, Jason. And you think about when you serve, and we're trying to move away from the word volunteer to servant, because we're called to be servants, and there's weight that's carried with that. There's weight in a good way to know that, you know what you do makes an impact, and there's a seriousness to what you do. And we want folks to come and obviously join the church and be a part of what God is doing here at First. But the other component of that is to serve. And, our whole taglines here, long before I came here, you guys developed know, follow, and share. And I love that.
Follow and share.
Know, follow, and share Jesus Christ. And all of this ties in together with that. And when you serve in a church, that is a very deep commitment. And it's nothing that, it's not like you're signing your life away. But you know what? You're making an impact for the kingdom. You are making a difference in people's lives. And we're so excited because the servants that we have at this church are very intentional and serious about what they do. And I think this night is really going to help to solidify that and to take that a step further under your leadership. And I'm so excited about what God is doing here. And that first Sunday is going to be something so neat. And, this idea all came about, we were all talking about just a clear pathway that any one of our staff members or anyone even involved in the church, if somebody came up to them and said, well, what can I do to get involved? Well, we have we have First Steps, Discover First, and all that. But why don't you just come to First Sunday? 6 o'clock. Come sit at my table. It's so easy to invite somebody.
It is, and I'm really excited about it. Like I said, it's taken 10 years to develop something that was simple enough to where we could all memorize it, and it just flows off of our thought about the ministry pathway, about how to get involved, how to plug in, how to learn more about connecting in Sunday school. But all of these things collaborate in developing disciples for Christ. So we want you to come to be a part. Last Sunday was a great Sunday. Everybody's getting back in the routine of things. We had a packed house on Sunday. It was so good to look out there and see every pew full. And we're at the point where we're about overflowing, and that's something that I'm so excited about what God is doing. Just encourage everybody to be a part. There's a movement going on here, and we want you to be a part.
There is. And one last thing I wanted to highlight, too. We have such a wonderful prayer team here at this church. Catherine Nickel, I just love her to pieces. And Molly, I call Molly the grandmother of the church, but you think about the covering of the church, I think of Catherine. Anytime you go to Catherine, that's Deborah Wine, our children's minister's mother. Anytime that woman has a heart of gold, and she'll remember every single thing that you tell her about somebody. And if you say, well, so-and-so needs prayer, I'll forget sometimes. And that's why Joshua Harris has taught me that if you say you're going to pray for somebody, you do it on the spot. You do it right then and there. And so I've learned that from Josh. But I'll tell Catherine, and we'll pray, and then I'll say, well, just remember to keep her, or remember to put that she said it's okay to put that in the prayer list. And I'll forget about telling her that. And you know what? The next week it's in the prayer list. And Catherine and Brian Gadalian had met in the prayer team, and they said, we really want people to know that this is a church of prayer. And how cool is it that the prayer ministry and our service team ministry, which we're kind of calling the dream team, how cool is it that these two have found a way to mesh under that one covering of First Sunday?
That's right.
And I think that's so neat that it's not just a gathering of, and I'm trying to move away from the word team or meeting, because everyone goes to meetings. You don't ever go to a meeting, do you, Jason?
Too many meetings.
So I thought, ministry fellowship, and what a great time to not only have our ministry team fellowship, but to have this night of prayer, to where we pray over the church, pray over the ministry. It's so wonderful.
That's where it starts. We see that throughout Scripture and throughout life. There's power in prayer, and if we're going to empower our ministers, empower our ministries, it starts with prayer, and that's what this night's about. It's a ministry fair that's empowered by prayer.
I wanted to, one last final thing on this, Jason. When you're talking about the power of prayer, I won't say any names, but there's a gentleman here in town, and I heard some very positive news, and I want to confirm with him later on this week or early next week. But he had told me that his wife was battling cancer. It kind of came up out of nowhere, and apparently it was a very aggressive form of cancer. And the prognosis was not good. In fact, I had ran across this person's daughter, and the daughter broke down and said it's cancer and it's not good. Whenever they went for the testing, and I had prayed with the daughter, and I remember going in and praying with this gentleman's wife, and we just prayed, saying, Lord, we know that you can, you will, but even if you don't, we're going to remain in faith. And I heard a report yesterday that this person is cancer-free.
Praise the Lord.
And that is the power of prayer at work. It wasn't my prayer. It wasn't anybody. It wasn't us. It was the Lord. God. And many people in the community were praying for this person. And you know what? God does choose in some cases to heal here on this earth. And if not, I love, and I've probably heard it from you, that the ultimate healing, I did hear it from you, that the ultimate healing will come in heaven. Amen. And it is a testament. So please, I beg you, that if you're praying, please don't ever feel like your prayers are going unheard. I've got a friend in a family. I still call her my cousin. Her and my cousin were married, and they unfortunately, split. But I still told her, I said, you're still family to me. And she is going through such a hard time right now. And she had posted the other day on Facebook. She said, I've just about given up. She goes, I've prayed and prayed and prayed, and nothing is happening. And I sent her some encouragement, and I said, you're in a deep valley right now. But I said, please, I beg you, don't ever think that the Lord's not listening, because he is. And I said, just hold on through faith and through prayer and petition. Hold on. And I said, I guarantee when you look back at this, you're going to understand. Because I told her, I said, I never try to put myself in somebody else's shoes, but I do try to relate sometimes in some way to help you. And I said, I've been in those seasons. I've been in that pit. I know what it's like. And I said, the power of prayer and faith in that moment didn't feel like it was working, but that's the only thing that got me through it.
Hallelujah.
So come on Sunday. Don Jackson
10:45. Don's going to bring the message. I know you'll be touched. He is a blessing to our church and this community.
Awesome. Jason, anything else? Anything else? What's going on the rest of this week for you?
Oh, man. Today we're moving our kids into Texas A&M. We moved some of their stuff last week, and today we have to get it all over there and the rest of the stuff over there and moved in. So we're right after work today or after lunch, we're going to go and move the rest of their stuff in, and then they start school at A&M on Monday. So they'll be over there. They'll start all the activities throughout the weekend. What they call Howdy Weeks going on, so they'll be going to all those events this weekend, and then school will start for them on Monday morning. So my daughter, who's first time away from home, first time at college, she's there. So she's a little nervous. She said she wanted us to walk on campus with her to her classes and make sure we know where she knows where they're at. And I'm thinking, well, you're asking the wrong people. Noah and Elijah are like, well, we'll show you where they're at. And I'm like, that's fine with me. It's less walking I have to do. And to walk from one side of the campus to the other is a major undertaking anyway. But anyway, so that's we're going over there today, and got a lot of things going on a lot of exciting things going on this weekend, and it's just going to be a great day and a great weekend, and hopefully the Lord will continue to send us some rain.
Amen. Stop at CJ's Barbecue or my favorite Mexican restaurant that's there, Chuy's.
Chuy's, yes, I love
two
Chuy's.
Options. So.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Rob.
Well, that'll wrap it up. Hey, by the way, you said Howdy Week. Mm-hmm. This is I've never heard this phrase before I came to Huntsville, and I heard it the other day. I've only heard it from two people now. Brian Adams used to say it on the broadcast, and now another lady said it yesterday. Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy. So y'all have a boy, howdy day. Hey, that'll wrap it up. Big thank you to Jason Bay, always for being here with us at First Baptist. Online, visit them online, fbchuntsville.org. And a special thank you as well to Terry Coleman, our real estate expert, for giving us some great insight on a beautiful neighborhood, Forest Hills, here in Huntsville. Special thank you to Joshua Mashi behind the scenes helping us on this Thankful Thursday. As I wrap up, reminding you we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Huntsville, I guarantee somebody out there really does need you. Till next time, we'll see you back at it. One final show this week with Billy Cawthon, Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We'll get started at 7:30 tomorrow. Until then, so long. God bless. Have a great day. Thanks, Jason.
All right.